Welcome to the channel. If you are a subscriber, I thank you so much for supporting my vlog. But if you're new here, welcome. So my name is Shai. I'm based in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and what I do is I run a series called Immigrant Insights, where I interview other immigrants, let them share their stories, but also share my experience as an immigrant myself. As you can see today, or I'm not sure that if you're going to be able to see outside my window, it is snowing. It didn't actually take so long for us to get another dumping of snow. Weather check for the day is -8 in Halifax, so I've just really got the feeling back from my fingertips because I went outside and went for a walk. In other news, I did update my blog. So I do have a blog, chaipuya.com, where I have more of my notes about immigrating to Canada. Previously on Immigrant Insights, my friend Angel did mention the NOC, and so that's what my recent blog on chaipuya.com was about, and I'm just going to talk more about that today on video format, I guess. So what is the NOC and why is it important? So the NOC is a keyword that is strongly tied to an express entry application and then of course into a permanent residence application in Canada. NOC stands for National Occupational Classification. It is a system that the government of Canada uses to categorize occupations within the labor force. In 2018, when Jade and I were applying for our permanent residence in Canada, the IRCC was still referring to the 2016 version of this NOC system. But from November 16, 2022, they migrated into the 2021 system. Now, the 2021 version makes it a little bit clearer because it now introduces the TEER. TER is a new term. It stands for Training, Education, Experience, and Responsibility. It clarifies that more because now it's at a numerical level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the other way around. Sorry, it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 0 still being where the managers and directors are at. So you would imagine that at level 0, this is the level where I guess directors, CFOs, maybe managers go into, simply because of the experience that they require, the responsibilities that they have. And then you have level 1 that goes into education, level 2, 3, 4. So it now from looking at this supervisory level, a fair people manager, it then goes into the type of training again that you require. So it's basically really, with the introduction of TER, then it's easy for you to understand, wait, I'm actually managing people now, I'm a supervisor, where should I fit in? If you used to be a marketing associate and then you got promoted into a marketing supervisor, those are two different NOCs, and it is important that you get your NOC right. Why is it important to get your NOC right? Because, and I'm saying this in the context of an express entry application, in an express entry application, work experience is probably the most important part of your profile. Why? Because the express entry is an economics immigration stream. That means candidates in the express entry program are assessed according to their ability to contribute to the Canadian economy. So of course, you come in, you apply for a job, you work, you pay your taxes, and you're able to contribute to the economy. You're assessed, okay, are you going to be able to find a job? Is there a demand for your position? That being said, so the next step is that when you pop into the IRCC website, there's going to be a questionnaire that asks you or that assists you in determining whether you're eligible for an express entry stream, whether it's Canadian Experience Class, Federal Skilled Worker, or Federal Skilled Trade. So throughout the course of that questionnaire, there's going to be some questions pertaining to your work experience and whether you work in certain NOCs. So, for example, there are specific streams more on the trades. So if you work on the trades falling under certain categories, then you fall into the foreign skilled trades program. If you claim that you have Canadian work experience, then you would fall into the Canadian experience class. So these are different streams, and so that questionnaire is going to be able to tell you at the end. But you got to make sure already that you know your NOC. And when you submit your application, you're going to be able to back up that NOC. So if you have 5 years of experience as a marketing associate and only 2 for marketing supervisor, that means that on your exercise entry profile, you're best off to claim points for your experience in 5 years experience in the marketing associate position. So I think that's NOC 1123 rather than just 2 years, because then on the scoring scale, 5 years gets more points than the 2 years. Don't get confused. If you have 7 years working in total, the exercise entry is going to consider that as 7 years if you're able to back up all the number of years of experience. But then in the federal skilled worker program, there's another set of criteria. Then you have to choose your primary occupation. It's a little bit like mental acrobatics, and this is why I like to refer to it, because I did a lot of mental acrobatics in my own application, like counting the years, which is better, where do I get more, and all that stuff. So this is really taking it to another level, DIY application, and trying to understand, okay, what are my cards, and what are my cards, and how do I play my cards right to make this a successful application? And that's what I did. It's possible, but you just have to be like resourceful, like really determined to pull it together. And so yeah, so when you have your exercise entry, when you're eligible for exercise entry, the next step is you make sure that all your other documents, and this is what Angel says, all the other documents, your employment certificate that you get from your company, they all align to support the occupation that you claim as your primary occupation, and also to back up the points that you're going to be claiming for that work experience. So when you have that tied, really at the end of the day, at the end of when you're putting your exercise entry profile all together, your goal is to get an ITA. What is an ITA? It's an invitation to apply for permanent residence in Canada. Now what you want is, based on the express entry scoring system, you get the most points versus everyone else, and that is what's called the comprehensive ranking system. So it's gonna rank all of you guys in the express entry. If you're Canadian experience class, FSW or FSD, they're gonna put you all together in one pool, and that's all ranked by the CRS, right? And that's where the ITA is coming from. So one is you get your NOC right, qualify for a stream. The next level is having enough points on the CRS criteria and get an ITA. So that's your end goal, right? So what I did for myself, okay, I locked in on the my marketing experience, and it's almost like a blessing in disguise that I just stated associate in marketing. I didn't have to think about am I 0 or am I 1. I was a marketing associate all throughout, so I claimed experience for that, locked in the math, put together my documents, and then the next thing that I did was make sure that I aimed for the highest IELTS scores, because the CRS, if you have 3 years or more experience on the CRS system, and you have CLB 9, I think that's about IELTS 7 band, then you get 50 points. If you have 3 years of work experience, but your CO lower than, I think your COB 8 or lower, that's only 25 points. COB 9 with 3 years work experience is 50 points. Imagine. It's essentially cutting your scores in half. And this is what I mean by taking it to the next level, understanding the next steps. What do you need to do to put together a very strong application? So yeah, so that is why the NOC is important. That's why you gotta figure it out. It's very easy to find. NOC, go like search on your search engine, search NOC Canada. It's gonna bring you to probably the Statistics Canada page. You're gonna be able to find it, figure it out, start with that. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sink in, think about it, mull it over. I will be back, give you some notes. For the meantime, I thank you so much for supporting my blog, and hopefully you also support my blog. Please share it with anybody you know who you know is thinking about moving to Canada. And as always, if you have any comments, drop in down below.